What's up, everyone, and welcome to the premiere of What the Marriage podcast.
Yeah.
I am April, and this is my husband, Jonathan.
What's up?
And listen, we are so happy that you are here joining us today. Look, we've been trying to get this podcast out for the last 4 years. No lie. At least the last 4 years, right?
A minute.
So,
Absolutely.
When we were starting out this week and trying to get this done, we're a little bit of a perfectionist because we got a production company. So we're like, oh, it needs to look a certain way. It needs to feel a certain way. This set design, I swear we redid it at least 10 times.
Absolutely.
And now we're just like, you know what? We got to get this out. And then yesterday when we were filming, we were trying to do a tester. We started getting frustrated. And I was like, why am I being frustrated with him? Why am I getting irritable? And I didn't understand it then, but then last night when we were talking through it, we realized it's the attack of the enemy. The enemy does not want us to share what we have.
Absolutely.
That's what was happening in the last 4 years.
Yep. Listen, this is a real quick tidbit. Anytime you start arguing with your wife, this is real quick. Anytime you start arguing with your wife, stop, pray. Ask God, what's going on? Because it's in that moment, then you can start to get clarity. Your wife is not the enemy.
Nope.
Your husband is not the enemy. We can get into this thing right now. You're not each other's enemy, and that's very important for you guys to understand.
Yep. And I love what you said about that, because when we got into this, we're like, what is the foundation of our podcast? What do we want to drive home? And it is, marriage is under attack. If you look around the world today, you see so many alternative marriages that are outside of God's original design.
Real.
They're outside of how he designed it. And from day one, in heaven, Satan declared that I am going to wage a war on marriage. So if you think that these things that you're going through, these battles, these struggles are just things that are just happening, no. The enemy is causing them to happen. He's absolutely causing them to happen.
Absolutely.
So you have to recognize it. You have to absolutely recognize it. And I think that is why this podcast is needed now more than ever. And we're just one couple trying to make a difference. We're trying to build a community to help you navigate through the enemy's attacks.
Absolutely.
We're just one couple doing it, but there's plenty other resources and people that are trying to do the same thing that we're doing. So this is a community.
Yeah. So listen, hey, thank you for stopping by, rocking with us. Look, this is gonna be cool, man. This is gonna be good.
Yep.
We can just talk and vibe and do what we do. So look, let's get into this thing. A little bit of backstory. Go ahead, sweetheart. A little bit of backstory. What you think? Give them a little bit of backstory about who we are.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we've been married for almost 25 years. It'll be 25 years in December.
Woo!
And we have 3 beautiful children. Our son, who is actually 21, is married himself. And
listen, wait. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Not this particular episode, but we're gonna get into that.
And we're gonna bring them on. We're gonna bring them on. So look, y'all can look them in their face and be like, y'all really married?
Yep.
How y'all doing?
Yep.
Struggling.
Yep, struggling. Straight struggling. But what the amazing and blessed thing is that they've been married almost 2 years already. And when I looked back at the calendar, I was like, wow, it's been almost 2 years. Now, like we said, they struggling, but
they working it out.
Right. We worked it out and they working it out too. They were the same exact age that we were when we got married. I had just turned 18 and he was 19, about to be 20. So when our son came and he's like, no, I love her. I'm marrying this girl. And I was like, what? I swear, it's like a mirror. It's like looking at their life. It's a straight mirror of where we were at that same time in our lives. And it's crazy how God just works things out. So everything they going through, we got a story for them.
And we can help them. And I think that's what we want to do with this podcast. We want to help as many people as we possibly can. Encourage people along with the community. So listen, all our day ones, man, throw it in the comments below, man. We glad to see y'all. Say what's up. Throw anything in there, man.
Yep. So, and one other thing. Listen, we are a faith-based podcast. But I want to clarify, we are not ministers. This is not a marriage ministry. We are not going to be preaching at you. But I promise you, we're going to give you some sound advice using the word of God to help you navigate these things.
Right.
So, no, for real. Let's get into it. Like we said before, marriage is under attack. And it's been under attack from day one. So if you thought you was just going to get married, and then after you got married, you was going to get into your honeymoon stage and everything was going to be perfect. Nah, y'all wrong. Just squash all of that. Throw that in the trash because that's all wrong already. It's already wrong. When we started out, we didn't have a strong foundation.
Nope.
We didn't have a strong foundation at all.
Nope.
Like my grandparents raised me. They raised me and my brother. I was probably about 3 years old when I ended up at their house, and it's because my mom was struggling with addictions herself. So by the time I got to them, my grandparents were old, man. I mean, they were like real old. They was like late 60s, 70s. So at that point in time, they're not about to teach a 3-year-old of how to run a marriage. I mean, I saw my grandmother cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, but she wasn't about to look at me and be like, okay, let me teach you how to be married, little girl. No, she was just making sure I didn't die and my hair was done and I went to school and I was clean. She wasn't about to tell me how to be married.
Right.
So that foundation, we were Christians. We went to church. I knew you wasn't supposed to have sex before marriage, and that was the extent of it. We knew how to do church, but that was about it.
Wait. You had sex before marriage?
I had a lot of sex before marriage. Actually, I had a lot of sex with you before marriage.
So you can't condemn anybody
no, I can't condemn
anybody.
Can't
criticize anybody that's that's hooking up right now?
Nope. That hookup culture, I think that's what y'all call it now. Nope.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure and
wanted to clarify
that, like, you did it, but you okay.
Yeah, I did it. I did a lot of it.
Wait.
A lot of it.
I did it with her, so it's good.
It's still good too. Am I allowed to say that?
Wait, we getting off track.
We definitely getting off track. My bad. But look, no. So we both came from somewhat of a broken home. So let's talk a little bit about where you came from. How was it for you growing up?
Yeah. So, my background was a little different. It was church all the time. My mom thought she could. Oh wait, let me slow down. My mother is an amazing woman. Mm-hmm. She just celebrated her 75th birthday.
She did, yes.
Ma, if you're watching right now, we love you. Listen. You did an excellent job with what you had. So it's funny how I don't want to get on this podcast and start acting brand new.
Yep.
Everybody has struggles. Everybody's family has struggles. That's where the grace of God. You remember how the old folk used to say, if it wasn't for the grace, if it wasn't for His grace, where would I be? Mm-hmm. I know where I'd be. I know. But now I'm in California with the most amazing wife, thriving. But anyway, back to my story. So listen, mother, I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters who was in the church all the time. My mom was divorced. So it was just kind of her. My dad was in and out of our life, off and on. I'm the youngest of 5, so it made it really hard because when my dad would come in and out, he was probably in and out of our life for about a consistent 6 years before he just ultimately just left. Mm-hmm. Y'all will never know. You're like, where you mean? What did you mean he just left? You know where he went?
Where'd he go?
He went to California.
No, he didn't.
He did.
He didn't.
He did. So, just to give you some backstory, I had a little animosity. I was like, dude, gonna leave? You gonna leave? I can imagine right now, I have a 21-year-old and a 15-year-old. I can imagine my wife telling them, hey, your dad's he's done. He's gone.
And both boys. So our 21-year-old and our 15-year-old are boys, and then we have 11-year-old daughters. So to give you context, telling our sons that he just up and left, that would be a very hard conversation.
No reason. No, for no reason. Children don't understand that. So listen, men, this is just for the men real quick. Men, fight for your marriage. If you're married and you thinking about leaving, give it everything you got because fatherlessness is real. Mm-hmm. It's real. Yep. So we're not going to deviate too far right now, but it's real. So when you don't have that strong male figure in the house holding things down, who does the enemy attack? He attacks the head first. That's a whole different pod, but yeah, we're going to get into it. But so back to my family history. So it was difficult. Mom divorced. She's raising kids. You know what? But what she gave us is this. She gave us God. She said, no matter what, she didn't have the most money. She didn't have, she didn't give us everything we wanted. She provided a roof over our head. And she said, all my children are going to be saved. That was her biggest prayer. All of her children are saved. So we can stop right here. Somebody can throw it in the comments right here. To save children, because I know there is parents out there right now that if they could just have that, save children. Save children. Save children. That's a really big thing. We're going to also talk about parenting. Just some things that when you have a kid, it is like nothing else. In the beginning of the pod, what do we start talking about? We start talking about how the enemy is attacking marriages. What do you think he attacks? He attacks your mind. Then he gonna come for your children. He want it all.
Coming for it all.
He want it all.
And it's funny because I was just, as you were talking, it reminded me of a story that your mother told me about your father. And we were just newly married.
Dad, if you watching, look, it ain't nothing personal.
Listen, it really, for real, it's
Love
nothing
you.
personal.
Ain't nothing personal.
No,
Look.
no.
So,
but I got to tell this story.
Go ahead.
So, his mother, when we first got married, his mother and I had a lot of conversations because, one, she loved her children and she loves her children and she gave them God. So a lot of the time she wanted to make sure that anyone that got with her children, whether it was a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, that they understood her children. And when I first had this conversation with her, she just wanted me to understand where Jonathan came from. And I'm like, well, I know, because I had my $2 attitude. I was conceited. I thought I knew everything. And she was like, well, listen, Jonathan's father and I, we got divorced, and, some of Jonathan's tendencies may come from his father. And I just want you to understand this. And I'm like, all right, get on with the story. So she tells me that, Jonathan's father, he only would come back home long enough to get me pregnant, and then he would leave. I said, oh, really?
Whoa.
I said, that's deep.
Whoa.
And she said, when he would come back, he would stay there for a little bit. Things would go fine. And then she'd catch him looking out the window. And he'd be like, I got to get out of here. And she'd be like, well, where are you going? He said, I don't know. I just got to get out of here. And she said, and then he would just up and leave. And he would be gone for some time, and then he would come back. And she's like, that would happen off and on until finally he was just gone. So I just want you to know that if you start to see these things in Jonathan, just be aware, because this could happen to you too. And I just thought about that. And the more I thought about it, and actually the longer we were married and I thought about that conversation I had with her, it was really heartbreaking in the sense that was a generational curse that she was placing on our marriage very early on. She didn't have the faith that Jonathan wasn't going to be like his dad. She just said, no, if the likelihood of this happening is very high, so you better prepare yourself, little girl. And I thought, wow, that was deep.
It was deep, and it was necessary information. Remember, context is king here. So listen, most parents, what they do is they parent from what they knew. At the moment, she was parenting from heartbreak and hurt. Some of the things that my father did to her was bad. I can imagine what it's like to be abandoned, and then have to be left to raise 5 children by yourself. So I don't understand his reasons. I don't know. And Dad, if you're listening, listen. Hey, you want to talk it out? Look, to this day, I don't understand his reasoning. So, but here on this podcast, one of our things and one of our slogan, our slogan is this: married and growing through your junk.
Yep.
Married and growing through your junk. That's junk. And we got to grow through it. Should we, and how can we grow through our junk together? So It's about transparency.
Mm-hmm.
It's about confession.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happened to me, but man, it's not me. That's not what I am.
Mm-hmm.
Just because something happened to you, that doesn't mean that's what you are. That's what you are. That is not what you are. God has so much more. To this day, my son, who's married now, my daughter, and my other son, they don't know what it's like not to have a father.
Right.
Not that I've been there, and that curse has been broken.
Yeah. And you know what I love is our nephew Ezekiel, and some of you know our nephew Ezekiel. He said the most, it was the most flattering and it really just blessed us. He said, Uncle John, Aunt April, you are the only example of a successful marriage that I know. And that blessed us because out of all the people that he know, including his parents, we're the only successful marriage that he's seen. He said the fact that you have a husband, a wife, and you're raising your children together, they don't know what it's like to come from a broken home. He was like, you don't see that. He's like, you don't see that. And this is the reason why this podcast and these conversations and us building this community is so important, because we want to build strong families. God's design for family is for you to remain one, not to break up, not to separate. And this is no condemnation. So I hope that nobody is hearing any condemnation when I say that is the design and that is what God wants for you, because you may be looking at your past and you may be like, well, I'm divorced, so none of this applies to me. My family's already broken up. Or, I have a baby and I'm a single parent, or whatever the case is.
Whatever.
This is not to condemn you. Even if you're single and you're watching this podcast and you don't have kids, we want to prepare you for the day that you want to have a family, that you get married, that you have children, because the enemy is already looking at you.
And encourage you. Your best days are ahead.
Absolutely.
Your best days are ahead. You are not your past. Mm-hmm. So if you don't hear nothing else that we say, you are not your past. So your best days are ahead. God has something amazing for you. Mm-hmm. Amazing. So do not spend time looking in the rear view, wondering and pouting and trying to understand what happened. Yes, therapy is a real thing. Yep. Emotional intelligence is a real thing. So process. If you're struggling with that, we're going to have some resources. Yep. There is so many things out there that people struggle with and they need mental help with. So under no circumstances are we saying that you shouldn't get help dealing with past trauma. That is not what we're saying. Yeah. We just want to encourage you, if it happens to be you that you're struggling with past things that happened that you couldn't control. You couldn't control them.
Well, you know what though? I love what you said about things that you can't control and looking at your past, because we keep talking about the enemy's attack, and Satan is single-handedly trying to destroy you. And the way that he destroys you is he studies you. He literally has a demon assigned to each one of us.
Playbook.
And they study us. Okay. Exactly. It's a playbook. Like, you heard of game playbooks and how whenever it's time for a game, the week leading up to a game, the opponent, the opposing team is studying all of your past plays. They want to know you. They want to know your moves. They want to know how you're gonna flow on the field. They do all of that. Satan has that same exact methodology when he's looking at your life. He's looking at me saying, April, you know what? I know what you like here. I know you used to do this, and I know you used to do that. Ooh, I know you kind of fancy this over here. He's constantly looking at ways to take my life and my past and use it against me. He's trying to take all the things, all of my various nuances, and trying to turn them against me. He's looking at my husband. He's looking at my children. All the things that God created for good. My children are good. My husband is good. Real. My friends and family are good.
Real.
But the enemy is like, you know what? Why don't I just take this thing that God meant for good and use it against you? And he does that. That's the reason why when your husband starts arguing with you, when we get into a disagreement, and exactly like what you said earlier, you be like, if you're mad at me, or if we're arguing, you be like, I got to pause. Let's take a minute. Let's take a minute. And that's what we always purpose ourselves to do. We're like, look, let's take a minute. Let's take a step back. Because what is this? What is actually happening here? The enemy is trying to use my husband against me. He's trying to destroy and create arguments and create division. That is his primary goal, is to create chaos and division in your house so he can ultimately separate you and your family.
And he's a liar too.
And he's a liar.
A liar.
He's absolutely a liar. So that's the reason why it's so, so important that when we go back to the therapy, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody about past traumas, do that. There's a lot of resources, and we're going to be talking about these resources in future podcasts, and it's really important that you recognize that it's okay that you go and seek help.
Absolutely.
Because guess what? The enemy is going to try to use anything that he can. He's going to try to use that past trauma to separate your family. He's going to try to use that past trauma to kill your children. He's going to use that past trauma to try to kill your marriage.
Real.
In any relationships that you have, he ultimately wants to kill you and everything that you have.
Absolutely.
So, it's really important that you look at that and recognize it. The sooner you recognize that you are at war with the enemy.
It's no more sneak attacks.
Yep. No more sneak attacks.
No more sneak attacks. Wow. Man, it's funny when she was saying that. So, where in the beginning where it was a big sneak attack for us was our finances.
Oh, yeah.
Was our finances.
Yeah. Listen, we were talking about finances, right? And again, like finances, we were in a financial struggle for at least like the first 10 years of marriage, and we was broke. We just ain't had no money.
Broke.
We was
uber
like
broke.
Super, uber broke. And we was just trying to make it, y'all. We was on public assistance. We are not ashamed to say that. Look.
Hold up. Look, did y'all see how she said public? We were on public assistance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Listen,
we was on the welfare.
Look, we had the food stamp books. Look, y'all know.
Y'all know the food stamp book, not the card, the books.
The books. Oh, I'm showing my age.
Listen, the books before they converted to them cards, the cards that look like debit cards.
Listen, my mom sent me down to the store with the books. So, hey, anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. This is good. This is good. Come on, this is good.
We was on the welfare, and we were just trying to make ends meet. Light bill comes in, and I'm like, yo, we don't have money for this light bill. And at the time, Dorian was probably, I want to say 6 months old, because he was young. He was young. He wasn't walking. He was about 6 months old, because I was still breastfeeding. He still had formula, all of that. So
this was like 21 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 21 years ago. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So when you look at it, it's like 21 years ago. So then I'm like, look, and this was actually my idea. And look, I'm not even ashamed to say that this was my idea. So my husband was working. We had little odd end jobs. We were just trying to make ends meet, and we still, like I said, we had welfare, all of that. So I said, listen, we got a cooler. Why don't we just buy bags of ice? Because they was like 25 cents. Let's buy some bags of ice and just use that as a refrigerator. We could sell this refrigerator for like $2.50, and that'll be enough to cover our light bill. Yeah, no, wait, you didn't hear me. I said, let's sell our refrigerator that we keep food in. Let's sell our refrigerator to get $250 to pay our light bill.
Listen, hey, no lies. I detect no lies here. Why did I say, look, that ain't a bad idea?
And we did it. We did it, yo. We did it.
We definitely did it. We definitely did it.
We had a cooler, and he would go down to the store and buy. We had a cooler, and he would go down to the store and buy bags of ice from the gas station. Fill up the cooler. We would put milk, water, whatever we had in there, meat. And this cooler wasn't that big, y'all. So we would put whatever we had in there, and we would just, do what we do, make it do what it do. My cousin, she came over to the house one day, and I can't remember why she came over, but she came over, and she was like, she seen the cooler, and she didn't see a refrigerator. She was like, She ain't say nothing at first.
It was a spot where a refrigerator was, but it wasn't.
And you knew because it had the line where the refrigerator was.
It wasn't there though.
And then we sitting there, we're talking, right? We're sitting at the little kitchen table, and it wasn't even a kitchen table; it was a card table we had. And I'm sitting there, we're talking. She holding Dorian, and she bouncing them. They're playing. She's like, "Yeah, you guys getting a new refrigerator or something?" And I said, "No." And then I just kept talking and acting like everything was normal. And she said, "What you mean no?" And I was like, "No, like we just used the cooler." And she said, "Oh, you just using the cooler?" Okay. So we sat there a little bit longer, and awkward silence finally had enough. She was like, "Listen, I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. Y'all not having a refrigerator there is really messing with me. It's really messing with me. What y'all need, because this is crazy. Like, how y'all have a whole baby? Y'all got a whole baby right here, and y'all don't got no refrigerator. This is really tripping me out. And look, what can I do to help y'all?" And I just broke down. It was like, and I explained to her what we needed. And but that's like real. Like, we for real did that.
Listen, and here's the thing. I okayed it. Like,
he did.
He
actually helped move it.
We thought this was a good idea to more like our refrigerator. Like the thing, listen, for anybody out there that's thinking about selling a refrigerator and they don't got another one, like,
look, put a comment. Drop us a comment, please. Don't do that.
Don't do it. And more importantly, listen, on some real talk, you want some good financial advice, don't mess with your four walls.
One thing we want to do for you guys is we want to help you. I think we should help somebody.
Wait, you want to give something away?
Yeah, I think we should give something away.
Cool. Let's do it.
So, listen, we got something special for you. If you're tuning into this podcast today and you're rocking with us, leave us a comment, and we're going to select one of you dedicated followers to receive the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University course. It's a 1-year subscription. We are going to take care of it for you free and clear. And it's just our way of, one, thanking you guys for stopping by.
Absolutely.
And two, we want to get you on the right step. We started 2023. We're still in January. So going into February this year, make some positive moves with your finances. If you're somebody that's struggling, if you're somebody that just was like, man, my finances is all jacked up.
Or you just went buck wild during Christmas.
Yeah.
You just was buying everybody something.
Listen, who went crazy during Christmas? Who ran up them credit card bills during Christmas?
Go ahead, put it in the comments.
Look,
I went crazy during Christmas.
You can send us a private message and say, I went crazy during Christmas. You can send us a private message if you want to. But for real, we want to help you guys. And we're going to select one lucky person, couple, to get the Financial Peace University. Dave Ramsey, listen, he's not sponsoring us, but we went through the course, and it's a phenomenal course. It gives you classes you can watch. It gives you tools. It gives you an every dollar app that you can navigate through to put all your finances and bills in. Right. Listen, if you want to make a change, a positive change, start now. So again, we're going to pick one lucky person or a couple to receive the course. And yeah, if we don't pick you this time, it's cool, because we got a lot more fun giveaways and things that we want to do. But yeah, you just got to keep tuning into the podcast and see what we got for you.
Yeah, I agree. Now what? That's it. Listen, we thank you guys for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for watching. If y'all stayed this long to hear what we got to say, appreciate ya.
Yeah.
Appreciate ya.
We will catch y'all next week when we talk about training day. So you don't want to miss that one. So yeah, is that it?
I think that's it.
That's it? All right, give me a kiss.
All right.